What's up, y'all? So I was doing a book report yesterday. This is a short version. I was doing it. I was talking about it with my brother and his fiance, and so we're going over it, right? And I'm pretty much like giving him my my spiel, my quick little paragraph or whatever. And you know, he's making some really good comments, some feedback on what it is that I'm saying. So this photographer, right? This photographer was known to like not be really good with working with others, manipulative. You know, mind you, this is a book about the author, so I'm not coming up with none of this stuff myself. But you know, he's very passionate about what he does, or what he did. Rest in peace. And you know, it gets to a point where my brother's like, yeah, but you know, like realistically, like he's human. And that made me think about a video I had just made, probably like not even 20 minutes before that, where I was doing a response video in the class discussion, where we had to kind of like, you know, just what we thought about the book. And you know, I was responding to it just like that. I said, hey, look, he was a human. He just was trying to use whatever he had in order for him to stand for a cause and pretty much just, you know, accomplish. So when I'm writing the book report though, it almost sounds like I'm like making him sound like, you know, like not like a good person, like not a good guy. And so my brother brings it to my attention, like, hey, but you know what, he's just a human. I was like, oh wow, like that's crazy, but it's true though. And you know, so I basically had to give him some context and stuff. And you know, the more he analyzed the information that I was giving him, he was able to kind of like, you know, come up with like the same, what's the word, like conclusion, you know, basically based off of the amount of understanding that you can have about someone from putting yourself in their shoes. And it gives you a level of understanding that allows you to kind of think like how they would think, feel like how they would feel, see things from their perspective, in order for you to be like, I can understand why that person could possibly be like that. You know, this particular photojournalist, this photographer, W. Eugene Smith, you know, he was just a human like any one of us, you know. And his dad died. Well, his dad committed suicide when he was like really young. And his mom, like, you know, she had like this inheritance that she was kind of sitting on, because her family happened to had made some business investments when they were younger, so she had a little bit of money to sit on. But he kind of figured out a way for him to kind of like do what he wanted to do, what he was passionate about, and convince his mom, who he had other siblings by the way, but they were kind of like injured or like born with like you know, injuries, not injuries, but like they just, you know, one of them had like a deformed arm and the other one lost an arm in an accident. The other arm actually, by the way. So with that being said, you know, he was kind of like the only son that didn't have any of those type of you know, physical injuries or anything like that. But you know, he wanted to be a photographer. So he started off on a scholarship at college, but he was always having to convince his mom for money. And this is gonna make sense, I promise. So coming back to what we learned about a person, is that that's what made sense for him at the time, in order for him to be able to do the things that he felt passionate about. Fast forward later on in his life, he did some really great things. Even when you hear about him in those moments where he's like describing his letters to his wife, or the author is describing the letters that he wrote to his wife and stuff, sometimes, you know, he was very like, you know, hard to deal with. You know, he's kind of like easily flustered, overly passionate, kind of manipulative. But at the end of the day, he sometimes took the harsh realities of life and pretty much put it in a way that could kind of give somebody, you know, a voice. And I feel like that's what a lot of photographers do, by the way. You know what I mean? But back to this guy. This guy was like, you know, I was just assuming like the worst things about him. But then as I'm doing this video discussion, my mind's kind of changing as I'm like speaking about it. I'm just sitting here like, you know what? Like, that guy's like any one of us. You give us something to do, we'll do it. But that doesn't mean that when we're not doing it, we're gonna be the perfect